All right, so as you can see, I'm going to take apart this A7S III to tighten this screen right here. Mine's not super terrible, but there is a little bit of wobble. You can see it a little bit. It's, you know, I notice it as I'm here. I get when I shake it, it really wobbles a lot, and it wasn't always like this. And I honestly haven't done anything besides normal use. So if you're in the same boat as me, this is how we're going to fix it here today. For prepping, as you can see, I kind of labeled out the entire camera. I circled every single screw and put a plus sign in the middle so I know those were where all these Phillips screws are. And I labeled each piece. So the eyepiece, this is the back of the screen, this is the side of the camera with the grip, this is the inside once I open it up and the ribbon cable is hanging off here, and this is the side with the hinge where I gotta tighten these two screws that I did not circle. These are the two screws I'm going to take out and put some Loctite on, and there's also two screws here where I gotta remove them to actually uncover this plate. This is the bottom of the camera, and you know, it's not, as Doc Brown would say, it's not to scale. So please excuse the crudity of this model, but it's good enough for me to see where's what. And then I got the other side. Now I put a piece of tape where I'm going to put all my screws and try to line up as best as I can so I can put everything back to where it originally was. And then obviously I'll do all my work right here. I have a sandbag just out of frame so that when I do get to the point where I'm going to open up the camera, I can kind of put it over here and lean it against the sandbag so that I have some leverage and do not put any tension on the ribbon cable when I pull this off. It overall looks like a very easy fix. You're going to need some tools, some sort of a screwdriver kit with some smaller bits. You're probably going to want some sort of tweezers because these are very small screws to work with. So I got some tweezers. I have two tools to help me take off the side grip just ever so slightly to get kind of underneath there and pull it up, because on this grip there are some screws right here on these where we're going to take out. So, and the rest of it is all accessible through the doors. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get right to this. And I did forget to mention one more thing, is this Loctite. I'm going to go ahead and put this in there once I get this off so that I can make sure this doesn't happen again. There's two little tabs here, and you can just pull them out away from each other, and to pull this eye cup right off, and I'll just leave it there, and that's how you're going to access these screws that are on the back here. So the first process for me was taking out these 4 screws right on the eyepiece. So I'm going to be putting them on this piece of tape that I have already pre-labeled. I think pre-labeling it is just the best way to do this. It's really just going to speed up the process and make it less fumbling. And it helps if I take the eyepiece off. I think I'm going to start with the bottom of the grip first, too. I will say that these needle nose pliers are very helpful. So this is probably going to be the tricky part right here. And that's getting this piece up. I really don't want to damage this. I'm not exactly sure. Oh, there we go. So my fingernail was just able to get just under it. all I need to do, I can see there's a screw right here, so I'm just going to pull it back a little bit. These pliers with the really pointy tips are super helpful, and I can't even get it right now, so let's see if we can. But yeah. There should be another one over here. Now what? I guess I was wrong where the placement was this one. So the placement of this one was a little bit wrong. Ignore that one. There's two right here, and then there's one, you know, on the other side of this. So there's one like right here, and then there's another one like right behind this one. You just pull this back enough to get to it. Then you got to pull this side off to get to the one that's like right next to the NFC logo on this side. There is one more screw. Right here, when you open up the SD card slot, there's one in the upper corner. So now those are all taken off. Now we're going to go with this side panel. And there's three total. The one in between the headphone port and the mic port. One in between the headphone port and the USB-C. And then there's one right behind the multi-port. All right. Now essentially, on the external part of the camera, all these screws are taken off, so should just be able to take off this bottom plate of the camera. Kind of helps if I do the back of the screen. So back of the screen's got three. Now this should come off. All right, not too scary. All right, so we're not touching this part at all. We're going to be touching this back piece right here. If you can see here, there is a screw right here in this corner, and we have to remove that to remove this like plastic housing that's like right here covering the hinge. Because there's two screws right here below this plastic piece that we got to put Loctite on, and that is what will make it so that you can tighten. Yep, I was right originally. There is actually two screws. There's one up here, and then there's one like right down here on the side. So just keep an eye out for that. I know it's hard for me to be able to show this while I'm trying to prop it up against this to work on it. So you just really don't want to put any tension on this ribbon cable. So you really want to be careful in this part. And I can totally tell those two screws, one right here and one right here, it's a little hard to see, are actually loose, because I was able to just put this screwdriver right in there and twist it, and it was certainly loose. So now, to prevent it from happening in the future, I'm going to take some Loctite. We're just gonna dab it right on there so that never happens again. now we don't do anything else. Close this up. And put everything back together. Whew. Clearly this is the hardest part, is putting all the screws back in. Should get easier when I get a flat level surface, but until then, holy cow. No wobble. Moment of truth. Beautiful. No wobble. And that's been a wobble fix for the a7siii. Obviously, be very careful when you're taking your screws out. I lost the hinge screw. Luckily, looks like these screws on the corners were the same size, so I just borrowed this one until I can order one online and just replace this one so I can put everything back together. Put some Loctite on this. When you're holding the screws, grab the tweezers and hold the screw here. This is the end where the screw goes in, and hold it like this so that it doesn't fly out. You can secure it with one hand into the hole, and with the other hand turn the screwdriver in until it actually starts going, and then let go. That'll prevent you from losing the screw like I did. But all in all, The camera is now fixed.